Welcome to part two of our quarterback rankings. Um, like we did on the first show, we did everybody except for the top 10. And why is the sound played?
We have sound. It is echoing me. I fixed the echo.
Okay. So like we said, we're going to do the top 10 quarterbacks now. We did all the rest, so this is kind of, the bread and butter
This
of
is the meat.
this
As
is the
we
meat.
said,
Bread and the butter and the meat.
these are actually the quarterbacks that are going to start.
Correct.
So
These
the
are
ones
good.
that we went over were sort of like sleepers
Yeah.
or like an overall insight.
Yeah.
But these are the guys that are going to make your team
Yeah.
break,
Exactly.
lose or win here.
And I think we have a lot of different ones, at least in the order that we have them. Obviously, we did an overall for all of the positions, but I think individually we have a little bit different ones.
You're talking about our own thoughts.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I agree. And let's argue a little bit about it because I know a couple. Honestly, the top 3 or 4 we probably have very similar. I think it came down to.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple all over the place. There's a couple of sleeper guys in there too. As the people who watched the show 11 through 32, they had a chance to break it down and see who wasn't in that list.
Yeah.
So here we go. I'm gonna type them in as we go. Number 10, you want to take her out?
Number 10, we had Russell Wilson coming in at number 10.
I really like him. He had
So,
go ahead.
I had him 12th on my list, so not too much of a difference, but I think he stays at the 10 spot just because he's pretty consistent, I would say.
He's probably one of the most consistent quarterbacks. Correct.
I actually have Russell Wilson as my second overall quarterback coming off the board. Him and Rodgers, I kind of have, interchangeable. I think they're kind of going to have the same season. Russell Wilson last year went for 35 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. That's some pretty good accuracy as much as he throws. They didn't really have a running game. So, I mean, yes, they lost Doug Baldwin to retirement, but I think that a lot of the Seattle young wide receivers are going to show up this year, and Russell Wilson is going to help these guys kind of succeed. And he's a veteran quarterback now, so.
Yeah. The question is about their offensive line.
Yeah.
You said they lost Doug Baldwin. They have Tyler Lockett.
They drafted DK.
That's the thing. He's going to be the biggest question on their offense. Is he actually going to be like a Megatron? He's huge. He's supposed to be good. He's athletic at least. Now his catching ability and his route running is another question.
Right.
So is he actually going to help out? Their whole offense, though, the reason why I agree with him being 10. I think I had him 11 on my personal list.
Okay.
Because of their run game and the offensive line. How can you actually trust that? Somehow Russell Wilson always gets it done.
Yeah.
His scramble ability too. I think he can scramble out of the pocket, right before he gets sacked, and then throw a 30-yard bomb. So
yeah,
he does that quite a bit.
He
Kind of like an Aaron Rodgers.
He kind of reminds me of Aaron Rodgers. Accuracy not as good, and the flashy plays aren't as good, but I would say Brett Favre kind of, because Brett Favre was known of getting out of the pocket and just making those little shovel passes, stuff like that. I think those two are better than Russell, but I think he's on the same page as those two. He'll elude some tackles and then get out and make some passes, and I like that because he doesn't scramble a whole lot and get yards, but he keeps the play alive.
Right.
So
On to number 11.
number 9.
Number 9. I was going the opposite way.
Ooh,
This is the guy that is the sleeper.
Yeah.
Now, I would not be surprised if he falls 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Okay? He has the potential to be in close to the top 5. Baker Mayfield, we have number 9. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, David Njoku, Corey Coleman. You have all these crazy young receivers. Landry and Odell aren't really young, but he's got a lot of upside here.
Yeah.
He has. I would say he probably has the most potential, almost out of all these quarterbacks, just because of his top tier receivers.
Yeah. They have so much, like, the fans, the coaches, so much positive energy coming out of that team. We have to put him in the top 10 because he could end up being, top 5.
Yeah, there's way too much
So-
upside for this guy, and I mean, if the chemistry can click, and if he can run the offense correctly and be smart with his passes, then he could jump pretty high. I think.
Yeah.
Definitely in top 5.
I think one thing that helps him, unlike Russell, they definitely at the end of the year found a solid run game, very consistent.
Yeah.
So
That they
you should
did.
see how that goes as well. Their
And
whole team
I forgot
could be
they
fantasy.
added Kareem
blowouts.
Hunt,
Yeah.
so
Correct.
he'll get to play, and then
Well, once he comes back.
the rookie that they got last year was pretty solid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Number 8, I don't quite agree with him being number 8. Okay, I got him number 12 on my personal list. Because you look at the first half of the year last year,
Yeah.
1 through 8, he went off.
Yeah.
Absolutely went off. You take the last half and he didn't do as good. This is your guy.
Jared Goff is coming in at number 8, and I also had Jared Goff on my personal list at number 8. So
Okay.
it matched up. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But like Baker, he's got upside too. He's got a lot of weapons. Obviously, he's got Todd Gurley. So many
Yeah.
questions about Todd Gurley's knee. And to be honest, I think Jared Goff carried the Rams last year. I really do, because everyone thought that their defense was going to step up, and
Yeah.
I mean, their defense really kind of didn't play to what they could have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were high-scoring games for the Rams, and the Rams always they were high-scoring too, just like the Chiefs. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that game alone, the Chiefs and the Rams game. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like 40-40 something, or 50-50 something like
Yeah.
that. But he's got targets. He'll get better as long as they can protect him.
I agree. They have 4 great receivers. I guess when I
Yeah.
say great, I mean good. Robert Woods, Cooks, Cooper Kupp. When Cooper Kupp went down last year, Josh Reynolds is a guy to go to.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh Reynolds.
He was a great fantasy player,
he was-
too, to pick
He
up.
was a good pickup at the end. Now their tight ends, you're looking at Higbee. They got a couple average guys.
Gerald,
Yeah.
Okay.
those guys got to step up.
They got to
So-
step up.
Why I think I actually have Goff higher than what we have him here. I have him at 5. My reasoning behind that is last year threw for 34 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Yes, quite a few interceptions, but my whole idea of how this is going to happen is that, like you said, Todd Gurley got hurt. They're probably not going to use him as a workhorse, but defenses have to stack the box against Todd Gurley. It's how it is, because he can still bust one, and once they stack that box, they're not going to use him as a workhorse. They're going to start throwing more.
I just think that's the number one question of the entire fantasy football year.
Yeah.
Is how's Todd Gurley going to do it? And honestly, no one can straight up answer that right now.
If he
Even
drops
if
to
you're
me,
the, best professional NFL analysis guy out there,
yeah,
you are not going to legitly answer. the
exactly.
question. You don't know.
Like-
They're hiding it. They've been hiding.
This is
it.
kind of, I mean, this is kind of getting off subject, but I think the only one that knows about his knee is himself.
Yeah,
Because if anyone in the Rams team knows that, man, then they hold the biggest secrets ever, because it would be leaked. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know everything in
Yeah.
the sports world nowadays.
yeah. At least anybody that got traded off that team or left in free agency, you
Right.
think somebody would have came out and said it by now. I think, like you said, this is all how he's telling people, and he's not telling anybody. He's trying to
I mean,
see what's going to
As a
happen.
Rams fan, and Todd Gurley is my favorite NFL,
There you go.
person. So, but
Jeez.
got some issues over there. Okay, but as a Rams fan, I mean, this is alarming. I'm worried, especially for fantasy. But
Yeah. I know Ian's going to be happy with number 7 here, because I think Ian has him at like top 3 quarterbacks ever to play. That's how much Ian
The
loves him.
game?
Yeah, Ian, he's nuts about this
He
guy.
didn't do very good last year.
So at number 7, we have Cam Newton. I'm not sure how I feel about Cam Newton because he puts his body out there so much. I can see him getting hurt, older. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I hope nobody ever gets hurt, and I'd never wish that upon anybody. But what he does, and he has to carry that team. Devin Funches finished the season last year very bad. Cam had to step up and take more upon himself, and that takes a lot of toll when you're trying to carry the team. So,
my take on the Panthers is for just some odd reason, I think they're going to do really well as a team this year. I could see them finishing 11-5, 12-4. I think Cam Newton has a really good year. I had him 5 on my personal list, so he made the top 5 for me.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about fantasy, so I mean, he's a running quarterback. I think he kind of runs away from that this year, though. I see him staying in the pocket this year and trusting dump-offs to McCaffrey all the time.
he did that. He
That's
did a
the
very
thing.
good job of that.
Other than McCaffrey,
early.
they don't really have any targets.
Yeah.
I know
That is
that
the one
rookie
thing that's gonna worry me.
last year, I think it was number 12. Honestly, I had him on.
Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys that I mean, they need to step up. You know.
Yeah. I mean, Moore was a positive. Basically, Funches. They traded their other number 1, Benjamin. He didn't do anything in.
Well, he got hurt so
Bills.
much.
Yeah. So, still, really no targets for him. So that's a big question mark. I think.
I have him pretty low on my personal one. I got him like 14, just because they didn't do anything to help him on the offensive end. So unless they decide to motion McCaffrey out of the backfield and put him at a slot receiver, I don't know. I don't have too much faith.
Next one here, number 6, we got Drew Brees. I guess his offense, his career sort of sums it up. You still got Kamara. You don't have Ingram. You still got MT. They're still a really good offense. They're they're a firepower offense.
I think Drew Brees is going to have pretty much the identical season that he had the year before. They didn't lose anyone that really contributed. They didn't really gain anything, and Drew Brees is probably one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't get hurt a whole lot, and if he does, he's still playing, and he looks exactly the same.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Their offensive line is just
And they're all
crazy,
That is
too.
one thing that definitely helps them. Yeah, all around
yeah.
good offensive line.
You think other NFL teams would learn from that? It's like Drew Brees had a great career, but always had a really good offensive line. Shout out to Ryan Ramczyk. But, I mean, when you protect the guy that you're paying all the money to score you touchdowns and create plays, I mean, you keep him up on his feet, you're going to have a solid team.
That's why they always said your number 1 highest paid player should be your quarterback, and the second one should be the left tackle.
Yeah, so.
Number 5. These two guys are very similar overall. Their offenses are similar, other than the great running back out of Kamara. We got Matt Ryan in Atlanta.
I hate this guy for some reason.
Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu. Why I can't think of his name. Austin Hooper.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he really emerged last
Austin
year.
Hooper definitely helps the quarterback. Your tight end helps the quarterback a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're an electric offense as well. It's going to be high-scoring games. That's what a big thing you got to look at with fantasy.
Yeah.
Who's going to score a lot? That's why the Seahawks typically don't score a lot. So,
Yeah.
it's a thing to look at. But that was Matt Ryan out
Yeah.
of Atlanta coming at 5.
I like Matt Ryan. He pretty much had the same stats as Russell Wilson last year. 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's a solid player, just like Russell Wilson. I have Matt Ryan number 3 overall, or number 4 overall. So, I mean, that's when you have solid guys like that. I have to place him in the top 5, especially when you had a 35 touchdown season and didn't throw more than 10 picks. So,
The next one up is a guy, it's sort of like the comeback kid, okay? Andrew Luck, Indianapolis.
yeah.
I wouldn't say he has many targets as all these other quarterbacks that we just named.
Mm-hmm.
But T.Y. Hilton is a great receiver. Actually, I guess you can sort of say that. 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
Eric Ebron definitely helps in the passing game.
Yeah.
So,
I would
do you think he's honestly going to make another comeback year?
no. He had 15 interceptions last year.
It was a lot of forces because they were down.
Still,
It's fantasy football.
it's fantasy football. That doesn't help.
I think he has great.
Interceptions are mainly -1 points in most leagues. As long as you get yards,
Yeah.
which that's what Luck does.
Isn't an interception -2 in our league?
in our league?
Yeah.
Most leagues as well.
Almost leagues. Okay.
I think he has a really good season. I have him 3rd on my list. So
I have him 4th on my list, and I guess he's 4th here. Yeah, but it is quite amazing how after an injury he can come back like that.
He did have-
messing up your shoulders, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
he did have 39 touchdowns last year, so that is one solid thing to look at. But
he was gone for a while too, wasn't he? Was like
He was
wasn't
out
it
for the
more
full
than
year.
once he got,
Well, I
yeah.
feel like it seemed like more than a
It
year,
was.
but
It was a full year and then parts. Yeah.
On to number 3. So number 4 we had Luck. On to number 3 we have Watson.
this guy's electrifying.
So
I like this. I do. I honestly have him on my personal one, number 2. Okay, he's got the best receiver in the game. Yes, I said the best receiver in the game, DeAndre Hopkins. He's got a great second receiver. Will Fuller is fast.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Hopefully he
The
can stay
one-
healthy.
One thing they are lacking is tight end. Okay, C.J. Fedorowicz.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's more of a blocking tight end, but he's a check down guy.
They still
Running
have
backs,
Lamar
not-
Miller.
Not much there. I swear Lamar Miller went someone else. That's terrible that I don't know this. Lamar Miller.
Because he did okay
they
last
they
year
had
too.
an up and coming rookie.
Let me see here.
He's still on the Texans. He's going to be replaced. Now, keep in mind, Deshaun Watson. You can't forget about his running ability too.
Yeah.
So he's a good passer. He's fast and he has weapons.
I thi-
And more than so, they are high scoring games as well.
I think last year why he did so well is, he finally. I think he was finally comfortable with the offense. He learned everything. He had a couple seasons under his belt, so
Yeah.
just being familiar with everything, and he got the couple years under his belt, and same receiver, same head coach,
Yeah.
all that. So
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons. So, like I said earlier, I hate running quarterbacks in fantasy because I'm so afraid that they're going to get hurt. It's burned me multiple times. He is a running quarterback.
He's
He
overall stayed pretty healthy.
he gets out of the pocket and he stays healthy. But one of the really good things is what we talked about, QBR, quarterback rating. His is over 100. He's one of the only running quarterbacks, other than Patrick Mahomes, but he kind of stays in the pocket a little bit more, that is over 100 quarterback rating. So completion percentage, attempts, touchdowns, interceptions, to be over 100 and a running quarterback, 31 touchdowns, he deserves to be in the top 5 and at the position of number 3.
He's got it all. I would say you put him down as a lock at top 5.
Yeah,
quarterback.
for sure.
We have 2 quarterbacks left. We got the guy in the green and gold, Aaron Rodgers, and then we have the guy from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Mahomes.
the guy who threw up 50+ touchdowns last
Yeah.
year,
Insane.
and no one was on the same
I
planet.
would honestly say, if you agree with me, this is the second biggest question of fantasy football.
Who to
Is
pick for?
Is Mahomes, not necessarily who to pick number 1. I think number 1 is locked up, unless disbelievers, unless you do not
Okay.
believe in Mahomes.
Okay.
The question is Mahomes going to have another great year?
I don't think he had a 50 touchdown year again. I'd say he goes for 40.
So who would you in our listing as a group?
Yeah,
We have Aaron Rodgers number 2.
we do.
Do you
And
agree with that or no?
I do. The Packers made so many changes, and there's a lot of new pieces in the Packers offense. A new offensive coordinator who already came out and said he's going to change things up. So what that kind of comes back to me as is that they're going to run the ball a little bit more, and that's fine because Aaron Rodgers threw a ton of passes last year and got beat up in the pocket. They need to get that running game going, make the defense actually respect the run game, so that way when they do play action, because Aaron Rodgers is one of the best play action quarterbacks in the league, it's going to open up a lot of lanes down the field. So I'd say he throws for more touchdowns than he did last year and not as many picks.
Touchdowns?
Yeah.
That's insane. They put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
A lot of points.
So I had Aaron Rodgers second on my list too. But Packer fans should not be surprised if he falls all the way down to 10. Because, like Kyle said, they're going to run the ball a lot this year.
You would think.
But right.
Well,
Their
their
defense will be well enough to not have their opponent score probably more than 30 points, I would say, depending on who they play. But I think Aaron Rodgers, in a fantasy standpoint, he's going to fall off a little bit. You know, he's up there in age. This is a new offense, first of all. We really don't know what it's going to be like, but I think they run the ball a lot.
Yeah. Other than Devontae Adams as their number one receiver, you really don't pick anyone on their offense.
They got a lot of young guys
For
that
receivers, you don't
could
pick-
show up. Geronimo Allison.
Yes, but you don't know how. You don't know how he's going to produce.
I would be pretty confident in picking the second, so either Valdez Scantling or Geronimo Allison on my
Where at in the
fantasy
draft,
team.
though?
Honestly, later on, they're not going to be starting wide receivers, possibly flex plays, but the amount that Aaron Rodgers completes passes, I'm picking their second wide receiver.
I think you have to see going through the year, week 4 or 5, who's his chemistry with?
Mm-hmm.
Who does he tend to throw to more? You know, you're going to see it. Is he going to go to Geronimo Allison more? Is he going to go to Valdez Scantling deep down the field? Or is Kumaro going to be their check down guy?
Yeah.
So
You never.
you don't know how their offense is going to play out with the
That's
style.
one of the things about fantasy football that a lot of people don't look into is coaching changes and offenses that they bring, because you look what happened in Kansas City. Andy Reid came in and completely changed that offense and made it his own, which is, an offensive-minded concept, and look what happens. So
They definitely have to get Jimmy Graham way more involved.
apparently,
I mean, I know he's getting up there too, and he's a lot slower and stuff like that, but he's such a big target, especially in the red zone.
yeah. So
Someone said my mic wasn't working, but I feel like it is.
maybe we're just not talking loud enough.
I'm talking louder than all of you.
Okay, so we'll go on to number one. Obviously, everybody knows who it is. It's Patrick Mahomes.
I thought we covered that.
Did we?
Patrick Mahomes is number one.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's why I said obviously everybody knows who it is. But
Still no news on Tyreek Hill.
apparently he's going to play.
Yeah, he's gonna play.
Now, do you pick him high and then maybe something happens?
I don't know. There's way too many questions that have to be answered, I think, before we do our fantasy draft. Because
That's
otherwise,
That's the fun of it.
well, I know, but
See what happens.
if I'm up and I'm like, wow, Tyreek Hill is there at round 3 or 4 or whatever.
Oh, yeah, you got to take him.
It's a big question mark though.
You got to take him. One of the best wide receivers in the game. I'd take
Yeah.
him 3-4.
Something would have came out beforehand if he's not. I mean, he's playing. He's gonna play. Period.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be suspended. If he does, I think it's gonna carry over to next year. Because something would have came out now already.
Exactly.
Definitely. So last question here. Going forward for everyone's fantasy football leagues,
Yeah.
if you're in a 4-point touchdown pass for quarterbacks, where do you draft a quarterback? I would say the only 3, maybe 4 you get, maybe in the 3rd round, if it's 4 points,
Okay.
is Mahomes, Rodgers, Watson, and Luck. Okay, maybe 2nd to 3rd round. you do not go earlier than the second
Yeah.
or third round.
It's
if
just
you're
so
going
deep.
4 points for touchdown. Now, if you're 6 points for touchdown,
Don't do what I did.
I'm telling you, I know you have the number 1 pick in this draft. In our league, 6 points for touchdown. Mahomes is going to have the most points in the league.
But it's so deep.
But how
that-
do you think he's going to throw 50 touchdowns this year?
If he does, you got to pick him first.
Yeah, I mean absolutely.
So now
Well,
you're
that's-
thinking about picking him.
That's pretty much
I think he throws
person
under
that
40.
won our league last year.
Yeah, I mean it's something to think about.
The person that won our league last year had Mahomes, and
Yeah, that's
is
right.
true.
That's
So-
very true.
Yeah, I don't know if my mic is really working.
well, we'll figure it out.
I mean, is that is
I
that,
don't know.
is that the biggest question
Interesting.
for our league? You think? Usually, whoever has the best fantasy quarterback, did they win? Did they win that year?
Yeah, it's
the,
tough.
The year you won 2017, you were 12-1. Did you have Brady that year?
I had Tom Brady that year. Yeah, I don't know. Tom Brady, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Tom Brady?
we'll test the mic
So
after.
I mean,
'cause we're almost
essentially,
done.
he probably put up the most points out of everyone that year, right?
He did really good that year. I know that for sure.
So if people are watching in our fantasy league, maybe that's something to think about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
6 points, 4 points, PPR, non-PPR, all the things to think about
Yeah,
for your fantasy football leagues. That is our top 10. We're going to wrap her up.
yeah.
Get an extra show on a Wednesday. Like I said, more fantasy football videos,
Yeah.
advice coming your way.
If you have any questions about, what our thoughts are, or, obviously we all have different fantasy football scoring. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us, send us an email, and we'll get back to you. Because honestly, quarterbacks is one of the things where you can either lose your league or you can win it. Because
Yeah.
if you wait long,
Yeah.
too long, you have to pick who Carson Wentz, Derek Carr,
And hope that they
and hope that they go
Right,
off.
Exactly.
You could easily lose your league and then have to, get a tattoo on your butt or something. I don't know.
So quarterbacks are done. They're wrapped up. Next show is going to be Sunday. We're going to do tight ends. Okay?
Yeah.
Same thing. 11 through 32. We will go through all 32. And then we'll go top 10 tight ends. Top 10 is going to get a little fun because you don't know who's going to. Tight ends are a boom or bust, essentially, almost.
Yeah.
One thing here before we get out, I did update on our website, www.nextupsportstalk.com. I put a
Yeah.
forum. You can actually be a member, comment on our blogs and our forums. I did put up their quarterback rankings, and people can comment on
Yeah.
that specific topic.
Yeah. And now that it's getting closer to fantasy football season, if you want, advice right as soon as you have a question, so that's one of the big things. Patreon, subscribe. We will get back to you instantly with any questions and advice that we have. So if you're like, who am I going to start this week? Cam Newton or Drew Brees? We'll get back to you right away with what we think and get you the win.
Get you the win.
Get
win
you the
some
win.
money. All right. On to Sunday. See you guys later.
Bye.